Hey everyone, so in one of my last videos, I mentioned that some people, one of the mistakes they make is they take way too much stuff with them when they go riding on their motorcycle, whether it's an adventure bike or whatever kind of bike it is. And I mentioned that I put everything I need for a ride, all my supplies, tools, stuff like that, in this single tail bag right here. So I promised you I would break down what I keep in here, and that's exactly what we're gonna do right now. So before I get started in breaking down what's in here and what I carry with me, just remember that depending on where you're riding, the kind of riding you're doing, whether you're riding with a passenger or not, all these things are going to change, how much stuff you need to bring and what kinds of things you need to bring. So to give you context into why I carry what I do, I almost always ride by myself. I do a lot of filming and other trips by myself. Sometimes I ride with the group, but usually I don't. I don't ride with a passenger, so that's not a consideration for me. My style of riding is mostly adventure riding, so probably 70% street riding and 30% off-road riding. And the important thing for me, and maybe the difference for me, is that I ride a lot of different motorcycles because I'm a journalist, so I test different bikes, and I need a bag that I can throw on any bike I'm riding and have all my stuff with me to make me feel comfortable, to have what I need to get out of any sticky situation. Now, even if I'm going on a long camping trip, on a multi-week trip, I'm still going to take all the stuff in this bag. The difference is I might move some of the stuff out of this bag into panniers or other pouches, depending on what bike I'm taking and how I'm going to pack that bike. But for day rides or even for weekend rides, things like that, I use a tail bag like this, and everything stays in here. So before I break down what's in the bag, I promise we're almost there, but there's something I almost forgot, which is that I carry some stuff in my jacket or pants pockets. Now, I don't like to carry a lot of stuff in the pockets of my riding gear, and here's why. Well, number one, it adds a lot of bulk and it just kind of feels cumbersome. But also, if you are to crash and go down on your bike, which I have learned this from experience, if you have a lot of bulky or even sharp stuff in your bike, even something like a wallet or a phone sometimes, although you are going to carry that in your jacket because that's easy, but that stuff can impact your body and sort of give you bruises that you wouldn't otherwise get. So don't put a lot of stuff in your riding gear. I don't recommend stuffing your pockets. I know around the world travelers, that just ends up how you do it, because you're not going to be digging into bags to get the stuff you need during your day when you're touring. So I get that, but at the very least, try not to put sharp stuff in there, like pointy stuff that could stab you if you were to crash. But with that said, here's a few things I keep in my riding jacket. So I've got a small bottle of hand sanitizer, especially in these times. That's something that comes in handy a lot. This is a very, very important thing right here. So this is a Garmin InReach. What this allows me to do is to send text messages back and forth, two-way text messages, even when I'm out of cell phone service. So I pay something like $20 a month for the InReach service, and I'm able to send and receive text messages back to my family, even if I'm in very remote areas, even in the middle of the ocean. If you were sailing or whatever, you can send messages. Great thing to have. Highly recommend you picking one of these up and subscribing to this service. Also, the reason I carry this in my jacket pocket is because if I crash and am ejected from the motorcycle, like off the edge of a cliff or something, God forbid, hope my wife's not watching this, then I'll still have it on my body in case I need to use it to send an emergency message. Hi everyone, my name is Ian and you're watching Big Rock Moto, one of YouTube's fastest growing independent motorcycle channels. If you'd like to see more content like this in the future, there's a few easy things you can do right now. You can hit the thumbs up on the video, you can subscribe and make sure to hit the bell for notifications, you can always leave a comment on my videos, and you can consider becoming a Patreon supporter to gain access to exclusive content from behind the scenes, tips and tricks, and so much more. If you're here looking for my outdoor content, my Jeep content, my travel trailer stuff, that's on my new channel, Big Rock Outdoors, which I'll link here in the card and also down below in the description. Thanks so much for watching, and now back to your video. So I've got a couple of small bags here. No, these are not illicit drugs. One of them is, these are electrolyte pills, so if I get dehydrated, these help me rehydrate. The second is, this is a bag of aspirin and also ibuprofen. I just keep this with me, whether you have a crash or not. Sometimes you just get sore and you need some anti-inflammatory pain relief. So I use these quite a bit. Here I've got a bag of quarters, and you might think, well, that's kind of silly, but I mean, think about it, parking meters, things like that. But what I end up using these for most of the time is if I'm camping in a campground that has coin-operated showers. I've been caught out without quarters before, so I just like to carry the quarters with me. Chapstick's very important. I've got some eye drops as well if you need to flush out your eyes. Stuff gets in your eyes when you ride. I've got a spare key to my motorcycle. So this is really important because, and especially if you're on a tour, you know, if you lose your key, it's kind of nice to have a spare key. Some people like to hide it on their bike. Some people put it in their jacket, in their boot. I don't know. Let me know what you guys like to do, but I've been keeping it in my jacket pocket. The last thing that I keep in my jacket at all times is this emergency ID card. It basically has my name, contact information, address, emergency contacts, things like that. When you buy a Climb jacket, they give you one of these things and you put in your stuff online and they send it to you. It's kind of a nice perk for buying a Climb suit. But you can make one of these. It's just an ice card in case of emergency card. Definitely keep that in your jacket or somewhere that people can easily get to it. Okay, we're done with the stuff keep in my jacket. Obviously, what I'm not showing here is my phone and my wallet. You're obviously always going to make sure, you know, when I leave on a ride, I always touch my pockets. I have OCD, I guess. I'm like, okay, do I have my wallet? Do I have my phone? Because I never leave the house without those things. Now, let's break into this bag and see what we've got. So, people are going to ask what kind of bag this is. You know, honestly, I don't care what kind of tail bag you use or tank bag or however you carry this stuff. The point is what's inside of it. But if you want to know, this is a Rig Gear dual sport tail bag. I like it because it's easy to attach with these big straps. I can go under a seat. I can go under the like the fender of the bike. I can go through grab rail. So it attaches to any bike I've found. It seems to be pretty durable. And yeah, it fits the bill. They also make a larger version of this. This is the smaller version. So it's been fine for me. So let's break this open. So in the top part here, so I've got these two little pen holders. I have a tire gauge. That's a nice thing to have because most bikes don't have tire pressure monitors. I have a pen because sometimes you need to just take notes. This little special wrench is for the tire pressure monitors on this Africa Twin, so I make sure to keep this with me. It's just something special that I need. Now let's look in the zippered pocket here. So the first thing I have is a bag of extra earplugs. So I use disposable earplugs. I find that I can get a few rides, you know, a couple days out of a set of these disposable ones, and then I change them out. Earplugs are cheap. I'm not going to risk getting an ear infection. Actually, I have gotten ear infections before from wearing earplugs with too much crud built up on them. So change out your earplugs. That's cheap and easy to do. This is a little power adapter that plugs into a 12-volt outlet and gives me a USB port. Sometimes I'm riding a bike that doesn't have a USB port, so I'm able to have that. This is kind of cool. This is one of these USB cables that has a standard USB plug on one end, and then the other end terminates. It has an iPhone termination, USB-C, and a USB mini. So whatever kind of device you need to charge, this is great because I can power up any device, plug it into the bike, and use this. Next thing I've got here is some sunscreen. Sometimes you just need some sunscreen on the back of your neck or your wrists or wherever you're getting exposure to sun. Next up is this Leatherman Multi-Tool. So this is a Leatherman Wingman. It's like kind of a cheap one, but it has pliers, it has screwdrivers, a knife, things like that. Just handy to have, just like to have that with me. Next thing I have is an energy gel. So usually I have a couple of these and like a Cliff Bar in here too, but in my garage, sometimes the mice get into it, so I have to take them out. But I like to just carry some emergency backup fuel source for your body. In case you get tired and worn out picking up your bike, you can have some energy gels, Cliff Bars, things like that. So it's a good thing. These are my old Etymotic earphones. So these go in my ear and they're speakers, and they also were earplugs, a combination earplug speaker. I don't think they make this model anymore, but I'm hanging on to them. Sometimes I use them. I do have a Cardo Pack Talk in my Climb helmet, which I use for audio, but sometimes I just like to use the earbuds if I don't have that helmet with me. Okay, getting into the main part of the bag. This is a microfiber towel. I change this out every once in a while when it gets dirty. I use this to clean my helmet visor inside and out. Also, if sunglasses or reading glasses, whatever you have, it can also be used to clean your dashboard, your mirrors, things like that. Great thing to have. I also bring a small spray bottle. This is just a solution of like almost all water and like 1 drop of like dish soap. This is a cheap way, instead of buying like the Plexus plastic cleaner, of just using something to clean your visor up. So, you know, it's just a cheap bottle that I found in my house and something that I use. This next thing is really cool. And so I like to wear eye protection at all times, even when I'm wearing a helmet with a visor, because a lot of times I ride with my visor up because it's hot or I just want the wind flow, but I still need to protect my eyes because that's a huge safety thing. So these are actually interchangeable lens sunglasses. They make these a lot for cyclists and things like that. I also have another pair of these that I use for mountain biking and road cycling. But these have, you've got a cleaning cloth in here, a carry case, but the thing about them is they're interchangeable lens. So these are the dark lenses, but also I've got like this mirrored lens here. I've got a yellow lens for like sunset. I've got a clear lens. That's very important for riding at night. When I ride at night on my off-road rides, I like to put these on. So yeah, having the interchangeable lens sunglasses is a really great thing. Highly recommend picking up these. I think these were 25, 30 bucks on Amazon, great deal. This brand is called Snow Ledge, but there's a ton of them on Amazon, so I'm not really gonna tell you exactly which one to get. Coming in here further to the bag, so I've got my, of course, my Big Rock Media cap that's all crushed from being in here, but sometimes you just want to put on a cap for sun protection if you're walking around, taking a hike. Okay, this next thing is a tire repair kit. So this is from Tusk, and no, I'm not sponsored by Tusk or Rocky Mountain, although I do buy a lot of stuff from them. I probably should get sponsored if I was smart. But anyway, this is a tire repair kit, and what it has is it's for tubeless and tube tires. That's why I really like it. So I'll put better shots of this here, but this has everything you need. It comes with 3 CO2 cartridges to air up your tires, the CO2 inflator, all the different patches for your tubes, valve stem, tools, a little air gauge. What else? It comes with the tire plugging tools and the tire plugs. So you can repair, in theory, any sort of flat with this. Now, you should carry spare tubes if you're running a bike with tubes, and even if you're running a bike without tubes, you probably should carry tubes if you're adventure or dual sport riding, because sometimes you can't repair certain damage. And so I don't have room in this pouch really, or in this pack to have a tube, but I may get a larger pack so I can carry tubes with me, because I've seen a lot of situations where you still end up needing one. But this will get you through most of the time. I added 2 extra CO2 cartridges, so I carry a total of 5 CO2 cartridges, because you know, some of these larger motorcycle tires, they take quite a bit of air to inflate them. So having tire repair is very important. There's a few more things in here related to tires, which I'll show you in a second. Okay, so then I have everything else packed in these old Wolfman little pouches that I had. So I just have it packed in here so that they don't rattle around. So let me start pulling these out and breaking down what I've got. So this thing is awesome. This is a portable power pack. What this allows me to do, and this is from Tusk, again, because they make a real small one like this that's specifically for motorcyclists. You've seen a lot of these. I sell them at Costco, other places. I have one in my wife's car and one in my Jeep. They allow you to jumpstart a car, a truck, or a motorcycle. This one is specifically for bikes, so it's a little bit smaller and thinner, as you can see. You can also charge your devices. So if you need to charge up a phone or an iPad or a GPS, I don't know, whatever it might be, you can plug that in here. These are like 8,000 milliamp hours, so they have a decent amount of power. What I like about this Tusk one is it's very slim. It fits in here. And I've got the jumpstart cables are here. So basically, if you need to jumpstart your bike, you'd plug this in, and then you would hook up these to your battery or your terminal somewhere in your bike and be able to jumpstart your bike. That's important because a lot of motorcycles, you cannot bump start. If you have a DCT bike, you can't bump start it, and some heavier motorcycles, if you just don't have a hill, you're not gonna be able to bump start it like you could in the old days. So that's important. One thing I will note about this is these can be very hard to clip on your battery terminals. So you might need to have some extensions wired into your bike or have an SAE plug or something different. But again, that's something that you're gonna have to figure out for yourself. So next thing I've got in this pouch is a set of rock straps. So these rock straps are great for securing luggage, for securing broken things that may have broken off your bike. They're basically a more advanced version of a bungee cord. So they've got this bungee section, and then they've got this webbing strap part that you can tighten down. These are great, and highly recommend having a set of these with you at all times. Okay, so these are some Nitrile gloves. I just have these with me in case I need to work on the bike and I'm gonna get dirty. My hands are really dirty. It's just nice to use these and then take the gloves off and have clean hands. Next up, for all you KLR riders out there, zip ties. Zip ties are very useful, obviously, to refasten things that are broken off, to make repairs, to hold things on. Never ride without zip ties. And if you and your friend ride KLRs, you need to take about 3 times this much. This is a Motion Pro bead buddy. This just helps hold the bead down in a tire when you're levering a tire off and on. This is a tube of quick steel or JB Weld epoxy putty. So if you put a hole in an engine case or something like that, you can mix this up, and it's just basically a metal repair thing, and you can put it on and patch up little holes in metal. This is Gorilla Tape, so it's stronger than duct tape. I wrapped it around this, this broken pencil here because I didn't want to take a whole big roll of the Gorilla Tape because I'm sensitive to the size and weight. So I wrapped this up, and always have good tape with you. This is stronger than duct tape, so I really like using this. Then I have a few hose clamps. Hose clamps are great just to have a few different sizes of these. Fuel lines, strapping stuff on, it can be very, very useful. Oh, and I also have some duct tape, I guess, in case the Gorilla Tape runs out. So that's that pouch done. Okay, this next pouch is getting into some of the tools and stuff I've got in here. So let's break down what we've got. So this first thing is something called a trail jack. My friend Mike, Eagle Mike, makes these and he sells them online. My friend Carl actually, I think, still welds these. But anyway, the idea is, doesn't matter what brand it is, but you can adjust the height on this, and this allows you to, if your bike doesn't have a center stand, or even if it does and you need to do the front tire, because how are you going to get the front wheel off the ground? This allows you to just jack up your bike under your skid plate or your foot peg. You can jack this up and hold one of your tires in the air for doing a tire change or tire repair. A very essential item to have this, because you're not always going to be able to find a rock or something to jack up your bike. This is a set of Torx wrenches. BMWs use Torx, I think KTMs, a lot of the European bikes do. So I always have a set of these no matter what I'm riding, and that way I just have them with me. Very important to have, you know, some wrenches. Then I have a set of also Allen wrenches. So a lot of motorcycles from America and other companies use, and Japanese bikes too, use Allen wrenches as opposed to Torx wrenches. So these are important to have. A lot of times also aftermarket parts like handguards and stuff will use this kind of wrench, so definitely have a set of these. So I've got 3 tire irons, and the reason I have 3 is that sometimes you need 3, honestly. These are these lightweight, I think these are Motion Pro, real light aluminum ones. And the thing that's great about these is that they have the axle wrenches on one end. So I've got here a 22, I've got a 24, and I've got a 27, and that covers almost every bike. If it's something like a larger, like a 32, then hopefully you have that with you, or your bike toolkit has it, but make sure that you have the right axle wrenches with you for whatever bike you're riding. I carry a set of locking pliers. These are like the Pittsburgh ones from Harbor Freight, but you probably should have better ones. But these are very useful because you need to have locking pliers to twist something, to grab something, or this can be used as a makeshift shift lever, pun intended. If you break off your shift lever, you can clamp this on there to the shaft and use this to shift gears. This is just a larger Allen wrench that doesn't fit in that little holder, but this is, I think, an 8mm Allen wrench, so I have sizes, I think 2.5mm all the way up to 8mm on the Allen wrenches. I've got a few box wrenches, so I've got a 12-14, I've got a 13, and I've got a 10. You might also want to add an 8, and you might need other sizes just depending on, again, what bike you're riding. So this is cool. This is kind of a combination T-handle socket set kind of a thing. So it's got all the common sizes. It's also a screwdriver. So I bought this from Tusk, and I'll put the photo here. But I really like this because you've got the screwdriver bits, and you've got all the different socket sizes here, all right here. And you can use it like as a T-handle and get into different spaces. So that's a real handy thing to have. And that's it for the stuff I carry. The bag's now empty. Now there's some other things you might want to add. I mentioned like having tubes with you if that's something that you're going to need for your particular bike. Of course, in addition to this, you always want to have hydration with you on your rides and snacks. So I always wear a Camelback hydration system, which I talked about in one of my last videos, so that's important. But I can expand this tail bag like this, and I can add in a bottle of Gatorade or other food or things like that that I need to put in. So that's helpful as well. But I think I might need a larger tail bag than this. Another thing that I'm missing from this bag is a tow strap. I used to have one, but it got damaged, and I've been trying to order a new one, but it keeps going out of stock at Rocky Mountain. So a tow strap is something very nice to have. Now, one thing you notice, I'm not carrying like chain stuff, like to repair a chain or extra chain links. My perspective is I've never had that happen. I always have pretty new chains on my bikes. I don't let my chains and sprockets get worn out. So fingers crossed I'm not going to have that happen, but you know what? It wouldn't be a bad idea to have stuff to repair your drive chain if you have a drive chain equipped bike. Well, that's all the stuff that I've got for you today to show you. I'm sure I'm missing some things, and I'm sure you guys will let me know and keep me honest in the comments. Let me know what you carry. Let me know what you think about this topic, because I'm really interested. I see some people carrying a ton of stuff, and then I see people go on a ride and they have nothing with them except maybe a bottle of water and their cell phone. So it runs the gamut. This is what I bring. I think it's a good middle ground. Let me know what you take and what your thoughts are on this. And of course, remember, like I said at the beginning, a round the world traveler is going to have a different mindset and a different setup than somebody who does like weekend rides in a developed country like in the US, or where I live in California, where there's always a gas station or a service station. But I'm going on a 2-week trip here this summer on my GS, and this is the stuff I'm taking with me in addition to camping gear and clothes and things like that. So anyway, I hope this was useful, whether you're an experienced rider, whether you're a new rider getting into it. I hope you got some value out of this. If so, please hit the thumbs up, please subscribe and hit the bell. Consider being a Patreon supporter, and like I said, leave a comment down below and let's talk about this. Thanks again for watching. I appreciate all of you guys. Ride safe. We'll see you on the trail.